to Health Styles Market. My name is Arlys and I'm the owner. So today I'm going to add segment number 2 and the subject is sleep. It's one of the core basics in caring for the chronically ill. Can't be ignored. So number 1 was food, number 2 is sleep. So they are things that we want to work on because generally it's not very expensive or it's free, but they're also things we can do as self-care to die down the inflammation, to die down the symptoms of the chronically ill. They work with your medications, they work with other treatments that you're doing, but they're things that you're responsible for. Nobody else can do them for us. So this is self-care for the chronically ill. We're going to talk about sleep. So my first question, everybody's read the articles in the magazines and the blogs and online, and they ask you all these different things and make all these recommendations, but is it really something that fits best for you? How well do you know yourself, and how well are you taking that into consideration as to what's best for you to do in order to get a deep, restful sleep, to fall asleep within reason, easily, to sleep deep and to wake up rested and refreshed. And what I find in the front of my store is that most people are not getting that. They really aren't. And so most adults are walking around this is a generalization, but they're walking around in the US pretty much chronically tired. So lots of people could work on their sleep. So my first question for you is, what does your best night's sleep look like? When was it? Where was it? Who were you with? What were you doing? What was your day like? What was the next day like? What appeals to you about sleeping? There's so many factors. We're going to go on and on. So what did you do different to have your best night's sleep? Just that one memory, that one night. Maybe it wasn't repeatable. Maybe it wasn't even since repeated, but we want to work towards that. How can you work towards getting better sleep every single night? And so let's just ask a few questions. What time do you feel the most able to calm your mind, lay down, and fall asleep? What time do you have to get up? Is that a factor in your best night's sleep? Did you take a nap that day? Did you take a morning nap or an afternoon nap? Which was most effective for you? Do you feel better or more able to relax and fall asleep if you have a full stomach or an empty stomach or somewhere in between? You know how they'll have a rule, well, don't eat, this many hours before you fall asleep. What if you're somebody who grew up having a bedtime snack with your parents and you do best with that? What if you feel better if your stomach has pretty much digested your supper? Which works better for you? Did you eat compatible foods today? If you know there's foods that kind of bother you, that doesn't need to be on your list of to-dos for the day if that night you're trying to get your best night's sleep ever. What about your caffeine intake? What about your sugar intake? Did you get your caffeine in early in the day or drink it too late in the day so it affected your sleep? On the best night's sleep ever, how was your caffeine intake that day? What worked best for you? So most of the advice on caffeine is that to have it in and drank at least 8 hours before you're going to put on the jammies and fall asleep and go to bed. So for a lot of people, that's by noon, by 1, by 2, somewhere in there, if we want a 10 o'clock bedtime. How about your exercise? What was your exercise on your best night's sleep? What did you do? It must have been something relaxing, comfortable, productive for you. Did you get movement in that day? It could be one way or the other. And I noticed magazine articles or holistic doctors talking about sleep. They're always like, don't exercise 3 hours before you're going to go to sleep. For some people, most people, that probably works best. Have it earlier in the day. There's articles now that geriatric doctors are saying if people are over 60, it's best if they do the exercise in the morning instead of that afternoon or evening. What about your medications? Do you need medications to sleep? Do you need to take supplements to sleep? What time is best for you to take them? What about your best night's sleep? What about the temperature in the room? Was it a cooler temperature? Many people need that. Did you use a fan? Did you use a noise machine? Was there a new mattress on the bed? Did you have new pillows? Did you bring your pillows from home? So you can see that's just touching the surface of all the different factors that are involved in developing habits and lifestyles that contribute to having your best night's sleep. We want to duplicate that over and over. So I want to mention one supplement that many people are familiar with, and that's melatonin. And so here's a couple, 3 that we have in stock today. It changes. And so most common is the little tablets, and these are flavored peppermint. So years ago when I went to market and they introduced melatonin, I was very interested in it because it helps with sleep patterns and hours of sleep. And melatonin helps people stay asleep. Especially when I took this class and learned about the benefits, I really had my coal miners in mind. We're in Northeast Wyoming, and we have a lot of coal mines in our community, and lots of people work in that industry, and there's also supportive businesses that work shifts in order to support the coal mines. And so working shift work is really against our body clock. So melatonin, I thought, would be ideal for them. So some specifics I learned about it that are still true today is that melatonin needs to be taken every single night, every bedtime. So if you've worked all night on your working schedule, that means you're trying to sleep all day. So giving this an example, you're going to be taking this at your bedtime. So for the daytime sleeper, that means you're taking it at, say, 7 a.m., 7:30, 8, 8:30, 9, with the goal that you're going to be able to sleep all day, get up in the late afternoon or early evening and get ready for work and go do it again. However, you need to know that you do not use this as a sleeping pill. You want to be taking this at every bedtime. So we also offer it in spray, which is handy and convenient, and also a liquid version. This is a little tiny tablet that's dissolved in the mouth. Please know that you use this not like a sleeping pill, but every night. So this is something that's made in your gut, and then it's obvious and measurable and in your brain. So it's a brain chemical that's natural. Your body naturally makes it, but you make less when you have difficult sleep, or you haven't slept for a long time, or you have inefficient sleep patterns or habits. You make less when you're stressed, and you make less especially when you're working against your body clock, so that's working nights and sleeping in the day, and you make less melatonin when you're traveling across time zones. So there's specifics on how you take melatonin that's best for each of those situations, but for the sleeper who's trying to sleep at night, you would take 1 at bedtime, so as you're ready to shut out the light or take your eyeglasses off and set them on the bedside table. That's when you're taking your melatonin, up to 30 minutes before that. And then you want to take it at every bedtime. There's people that have used melatonin for years, and it's been beneficial to them every single night to improve their sleeping habits at night. So that's just a little extra info about melatonin. So print this. Crystal will be posting this. Print this off so you have room to take notes that apply to you. And the next time that we film, we're going to be talking about supporting sleep. And you have a little tracker, and we're going to talk about this. Again, the more you know, the more you can be in charge. You can make better decisions, things that apply to you. You can be better in tune with your body, and really give this some thought of how do we repeat, if you've had a best night's sleep, how do we duplicate that? And then not only duplicate it tonight, but tomorrow night and every night sleep from then on. So thank you for joining me about sleep. And I will see you on the next video, and we'll talk a little deeper about a good night's sleep. Thank you and have a great day.